Hello everybody, welcome to Tpull's Corner, and I want your input on something because what I did was, you see up here I told the filter to type things by creature, so it shows all the creatures up top and everything else at the bottom. So you do have to scroll to see, you know, all of the lands, but that's not too big a deal in my way of thinking. But I just wanted to ask if this is a better way to present the deck so that you can see the difference between the creatures and all the spells. Because I only have 12 creatures for this one, which is similar to what I just did in the last one for First Strike. I had a very small number of creatures because actually we have 61 cards and we're not going to keep 61 because Blade Historian. You can make any deck you want a Doublestrike deck by having 4 copies of Blade Historian in it, and it could be a pretty devastating deck. So as long as he remains in the meta, it's going to be very easy to put together the Doublestrike deck of your dreams. So we're actually not going to have him in the deck, even though it might make things a little bit tougher, because what we're doing is we've got a bunch of other cards that give Doublestrike, much like the last deck where we used instants to grant First Strike rather than using a bunch of First Strike creatures necessarily. So let's go through the spells first. Okay, we've got 2 Paladin class that we can, at the level 2, we can make all our creatures that we do have get +1/+1. At level 3, a target attacking creature gets +1 for each other attacking creature and gains Doublestrike. So even if you have no other attacking creatures, you only have 1 attacking creature, that creature would still get Doublestrike if you get this to level 3. We have 4 critical hits where you roll the die, and if you get a 20, then you can bring the card back from your graveyard, but any target creature that you want gains Doublestrike until end of the turn, whether he's attacking or defending. For interaction, we have Rip Apart to deal with targets, artifacts, and enchantments usually, but also to destroy creatures or planeswalkers. Sacred Fire, a nice little spell with flashback, deals 2 damage and gain 2 life, so that's a little bit of life gain that might help us out if we need it. From Call Time, a card that we can foretell to make cheaper later. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains Doublestrike until end of turn. So we're looking at 8 different chances throughout the deck, throughout the course of the match. If we get them all, if the match lasts long enough, that we could surprise our opponents and win in a creature-creature exchange. We've got 2 other boosts. Angel Fire Ignition, you put 2 +1 counters on target creature. It gains Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, Indestructible, and Haste until end of turn, and it has flashback. So because we have so few creatures, when we do have some, because I'm playing with the colors red and white, it's hard for me to ignore Angel Fire Ignition. I think it's just really an awesome card. I only have 2 copies. It doesn't feel too bad to always include 2 copies in my red-white deck. Another card I feel hard to leave out, Showdown of the Scalds, because you can use it to draw through your library and put +1 counters on target creatures you control. 1 board wipe with a Doomscar, and 1 exile, Farewell. Okay, on to, and 2 Cave of the Frost Dragons, which also kind of counts as creatures. Okay, on to the creatures we have. We have Clever Luminancer, so that if we're going to use these instant spells, we can just have a pumpable creature who's real cheap to get down at the beginning. We have Rem Careless, Stalwart Slayer, flying in haste, and they're going to have to take this guy out if we're dealing with red damage dealing, because if a spell would deal damage to you or another permanent you control, you prevent that damage. It doesn't protect Rem Careless himself. We have Venerable Warsinger, with Vigilance and Trample. Whenever the Warsinger deals combat damage to a player, you can return a creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it depends on the amount of power that Venerable Warsinger has. So if you put like a Kaya's Onslaught on him and give him a +1, he'll deal 4 damage, say, to the opponent. And if he's got Doublestrike, suddenly you're dealing twice as much damage. So he could bring back 2 different creatures from just 1 Doublestrike attack with this guy with mana value 4 or less. So that would bring back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, any one of the 5 other creatures we have, which is most of them. Or if, say, we put a counter from Showdown of the Scalds on them and do a Doublestrike later, we could bring back, a couple of the more expensive cards if they're in the graveyard. But basically, because I have so few cards, I was looking for something that would help me get somebody back from the graveyard and reuse my creatures. So this is a good one. And this is the other reason why I have 2 copies of Angel Fire Ignition in here, because it gives him haste. So if I have enough mana, I could bring him, summon him to the battlefield and have him attack the same turn. If I get a good surprise attack, maybe he'll last long enough that we can use his special effect before he gets removed. I have Markov Waltzer, Vampire from Innistrad, flying in haste at the beginning of combat on your turn. Up to 2 target creatures you control each get +1 until end of turn. Ryu Storm's Edge from Kamigawa, first strike. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. If it's the first combat of the phase of the turn, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. And so we don't have... let me see, do we really have any other warriors in here? I think it only would apply to Ryu. But the cool thing is that if they say they want to let him through the first time, and then there's a second attack, and they decide, all right, I changed my mind. I want him to face an opponent. We could change the first strike to double strike, and if the opponent has the opponent's creature has greater than 3 health, then we would still die. Okay, because he has first strike, so he can kill anything 3 or less at the beginning. Okay, Adult Gold Dragon, 4/3 flyer with lifelink and haste. And Hoffrey Ghostforge, a legendary dwarf cleric, a 4/5. The spirits you control get +1/+1, but I don't think we have. We have Venerable Warslinger actually is a spirit cleric, so we have that little bit of corresponding ability. And like Venerable Warslinger also, I don't know if it's a coincidence, they are both from Strixhaven, so it might not be a coincidence. This is another way to kind of get creatures back when they die. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you exile it, and then you get to bring back a copy that's a spirit. And finally, 2 copies of Velomachus Lorehold with Flying, Vigilance, and Haste. So we can look at the top 7 cards of our library when he attacks, and if we get a double strike in there, maybe we don't have to worry about them having such powerful air defenses. So just trying to think of things that would help with the fact that I have few creatures, and that would be complementary to the idea of adding double strike. So that's the idea of how these would all work together. Go ahead and leave me a comment in the comment section if you would. Let me know if you like this visual way of displaying the decks as I go through them. This is the first time I've done it. Usually I just have them by mana value, like in the table here that shows I go through the 1 mana drops and the 2 manas and the 3 manas. And here they're split out. So I can do either way. So it's really up to you guys and your feedback. In the meantime, like and subscribe, and let's see how this deck handles. My opponent is you. Oh no, not you again. Okay, I don't think I mentioned in the intro, this is our 1-year anniversary. We started off with YouTube videos talking about Evergreen month in June, and it's June again, so we're doing Evergreen month again in June. And that's where we take one of the key terms that Wizards of the Coast has talked about, what they've permanently printed on their cards, and in this case we chose Doublestrike. Last year we did something similar, right? We did a deck discussing first strike first, and then we did Doublestrike. I'll just kill this guy with Sacred Fire. And after we did our deck on first strike, we did a deck on Doublestrike, and so we did the same thing this year, but we made it a little more complicated because we're not just doing Doublestrike. We added in some cards with some other keyword terms. So we're figuring that there aren't quite as many new players out there, and if there are, that they can handle slightly more complicated than when I first started out covering in excruciating detail just one Evergreen term at a time. So we're not afraid here to go ahead and put into play not just the Evergreen term we're focusing on, making a theme of the deck, but adding in a few other key terms as well. We're not afraid to add those other cards in rather than... I think last year I made a special effort to keep them out, just so we could focus on the one thing. Okay, so let's destroy you. Looks like we got a cheap deck, don't we? into the dungeon deck, eh? Alright, we will use this now. That's pretty much all of our ammo right now. So we kind of need a break for one turn. No such luck. Okay. You can play that. I kind of need one more white mana. Let's go ahead and get rid of one of the Showdown of the Cards and our critical hit. Ah, there's our white mana. That's not white. Okay, so if I want to cast these spells, I gotta leave Clever Luminancer where she is. But I think it's more important that we cast those guys. And I think that's good enough. Gross. He's getting close. It's getting close to completing a dungeon and being able to resurrect whoever he wants. 3, 4, 6. Okay, so I'll put this down. And we'll use... No, we don't want to use Sacred Fire, do we? Shoot, do we just pump this up? Or do I cast another Showdown? Let's do another Showdown. I don't expect the Luminancer to survive. Besides, discard, all they've done is put down creatures, so there's got to be some kind of removal here. Yep. Okay, so we put down this puppy. And haste and indestructible. Oh yeah. I don't mind losing Sacred Fire because it has flashback. Ah, thank you. Oh, we lost Sacred Fire completely, right? Because it's exiled. Oh, man. No blocks. I think that was a misplay. He could have saved him, did another venture into the dungeon, and then activated Barwin's ability if he'd timed it right. What are we waiting on deciding to do? Hello? Hello? Okay. Let's see if this works. It seems to be working. I don't have a way to prevent that, do I? We're just going to use our Cave of the Frost Dragon if he attacks again. That's not good. I can't do that now. I gotta let him through. Let's see, what have I lost? Okay, I still have some rip-aparts. No, I have one rip-apart left. Shoot. What are the odds I'm going to get it when I need it? Here we go. We're going to exile all artifacts and all creatures and all enchantments. That way I get back my creature. Ha! I did lose my 2 paladin classes though. Maybe I should have kept one of those in reserve. Yeah, but it pumped up one of my creatures, gave him a +1 counter at the time. That's why our health is at where it's at now. Ah, another one. Gross. Now they can resurrect stuff. Let's offer a trade. They shouldn't take this. And they don't. Oh, interesting. But I can pay that. So I'm not sure why you wasted a spell that way. You could have held on to that and waited till another time when I tapped myself out. He has another enchantment. Doesn't like that guy. Are you willing to do the trade? He is. Who's he going to bring back? So maybe I should have exiled everybody in the graveyard? Exiled all the graveyards? Probably should have. Because that gets him to be 4. Not cool. I think I messed up. I should have exiled all the graveyards. Just lived without his ability. But my deck was configured with my creatures to try and sort of live with the idea of being in the graveyard and using the graveyard to bring them back. It's a big disadvantage to me too, with those two creatures still around. Both the Ghostforge and the Warsinger, for me to not use that ability. But I probably should have known. And if I destroy him, he'll just bring him back. So I guess the only way is to go over. I need more land then. Okay, you're dry of ammo, so what are you waiting for? It's not like you can do anything else. Oh, you could spend 4 to scry. And he doesn't. Well, tap land is not what I need. Well, we'll take it. We'll take what they give me. If I get just one more land that's not tapped, I can use both of the Frost Dragons at one turn. Can I get him before he gets me? See, that's an instant. He's spending a long time thinking about this stuff. You know what? Let's risk it. Let's make the trade. What he can do is he can scry. And he can do a treasure token. Those aren't going to help him. There you go. It's probably the right call for you. It's going down to the wire. Yeah, I figured you'd bring him back. Well, they really slowed down once it looked like I got the upper hand. Pass to blockers. We will block with a 0-1 to save 4 points of damage. Certainly. Don't mind if I do. Oh, that's lovely. This is beautiful. Gives me lifelink. So is it a good idea to include both of these spells? Yes, probably, you think? We have the hang-up because he has the ability to spend 4 mana and scry each time, which probably could have helped him if he'd cycled through his deck more, but he's not done it. So we have to wait. I guess I can tell him. This won't kill him, but it'll put him down to 1 life. So he may be roping me because he's realized he's dead. Unfortunately, the theme of this deck was supposed to be Doublestrike. And Doublestrike didn't really make an appearance that much. Now he remembers to scry. Okay, so we got the biggest benefit from Vigilance, from Tpull, from Lifelink, from Indestructible, and from Haste. Those were the heroes of this particular battle. Doublestrike, not so much a factor. So what can you do? Create a treasure token and scry 2, if you manage to venture into the dungeon twice in 1 turn. And he lost it, and he lost it. We'll take it. Maybe well before we get to cast that, or have need to cast that. Foretell when you can. Foretell early, foretell often. That's an expensive card too. The 2 most expensive cards in my hand, and I already got them. Oh, and he's going to get to see them. I don't have any removal. Gross. All he needs is 1 more land. Well, it's another reason why you don't want your most expensive cards in your hand at the very beginning. Magic the Gathering. Attack on the same turn, which is disgusting. I guess let's bring down our own creature before we lose him. We could lose him to removal, but still. I'd rather lose him to removal than discard. I struggle with 2 colors sometimes. Look how easy these guys get their 3-color new Capenna things going on. He didn't attack. Why didn't you attack? I got Vigilance, so I'm going to attack every time I can. He doesn't tap. Doublestrike, surprise! Oh, we got 4 colors here. Okay, what do we want to do? We want to attack, if we can. Counterspell? outpacing me on lands again already, as my opponents always seem to do. He's running low on cards. Let's try this. Does that get through? It does. No. Negate. Okay. Halfway expected that. He's setting up, setting up, setting up. Let's try this again. How many counter spells do you have? 2 negates in a row. Is that luck or skill? It's definitely preventing my card draw. Is this last one also a counterspell? It is. How about that, sports fans? And not enough land to cast the dragon. And he gets his out, no problem. Look at that, a 7/7 that I can't do anything about. Okay. Nice. Just when he needs it. Top decking. Right? Now he gets the card draw he needs since he's out of cards. How do I want to do this? I don't care about his health, but he's got menace too. I need the ability to put out Velomachus as well. That's not going to do it. 2. That would give me 4. Can't stop him. Okay, my last opponent had basically the perfect hand for me. He had exactly the right counterspell at the right time to take out my exact spell. So let's see what happens when my opponent doesn't get the perfect hand. Let's see if my opponent will go at all. So, if I haven't mentioned it, the name of this deck is called I'll Take a Double. And that's kind of a play on Doublestrike, but also on the flashback where you do damage and then you get to double it back again with the flashback. So, the I'll Take a Double name has a double meaning. Okay. Did you mulligan? Is that what happened? Oh. Foretell early, foretell often. Oh, that type of deck. Okay. None of you can be permitted to live. Problem is he's going to have enchantments too. Look at that, 3 colors. He got all 3 right away. How nice for you. I wonder if the introduction of New Capenna has taken this algorithm sorting equation and helped out people who do that. In other words, if you play 3 colors, it's going to help you to find your additional colors, although this may be 4 colors. What do you got? Nothing you're willing to use. Sunny boy. Ah, is this a mirror match? He has Showdown of the Skulls. Of course he has that card. Got a Lair of the Hydra. Okay, you know what? I can do that too. Doublestrike. Doesn't have reach, doesn't have reach, doesn't have reach. Okay, he gets twice as many counters. Does he have a fight spell? No, but he's got a 4/4 lifelinker now. That's not bad. This would be a 6/6 lifelinker. As long as he doesn't have a 3 damage red spell, I'm happy. This is an exile, but he doesn't see it, so he doesn't know for sure what this card is. These cards he can see, I think. Right? Just like I can see that card. Oh, he has the rune. Where did he get the extra mana to do that? That is not what I wanted. That's too much life. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's do this. Hit you for 4. Do the Doomscar. Do another Showdown of the Skulls. I'm hoping that he will feel the urge to cast a spell and use his mana to capitalize off of the third part of the enchantment spell. Are you going to come over and hit me for 2? Really? Wow. Okay. Venerable Warsinger. Angel Fire Ignition. Got trample, so we don't care. 6 points of damage. Get to bring back my other creature. Life is good. We did go through a bunch of... We lost a lot of instants and sorceries. Oh! We used up most of your mana for that. Oh, excellent. I knew I kept this card for a reason. Final score, 42 to -5. It's good to be young and insane. I like my opponent's name. Why so serious? 35. I only have one Clever Luminancer. I don't like putting her out at the very beginning. Nope, still don't like it. Foretell. She's not there just to be a 0/1 chump blocker. I mean, she can be, but I need her to stick around if at all possible. We'll just kill you now. Perfect. Just because they're tapped out. This is why we wait for the Clever Luminancer. Here's a nice little combo. Get my 4 health points back. They lose 4. Ka-cha! We might lose her now, but it was worth it. Yep. We need just one more land. Now we really need a land. Thank you. This is all we can do. If they can kill him, it might be game over for us. I'm hoping they can't do more than 4 points of damage, but if he has 2 direct damage spells, could be trouble for us. Ouch. That's not good. Yeah, don't do that. You're all tapped out. You're gonna die. Okay, I've only got 5. I don't have 6. I have trample. That gives me 5 health points, right? Or 6, sorry. Back up to full health almost. And that's an instant. So this is going to be fun. Because they don't know what these are. And I don't think they have enough to take him out. Froghemoth. Nice. You got 7 points on me. Two life points back. But now I have to be careful. Ah, a flyer. That's trouble. But I have lifelink. Whammo! Haha! That doesn't matter this turn, because he can't attack with Phylath, or he'll lose Phylath. Ouch! Nice, 2 flying red dragons in a row. That's 8 points of damage. I don't need to use the double strike there. This is starting to hurt me. So double hit was helpful a couple times. But can you do 1 more point of damage? Do you have 5 free mana? No, you do not. You can hit me for 8. But you don't... Why did you do that? Double strike. He could have blocked him there. He didn't know I had the double strike. Okay, we're going to leave it there. I think that we demonstrated often enough with, mostly with Kaya's Onslaught, but a little bit with Critical Hit, that we could surprise our opponent, we could win on the creature matchups unexpectedly, or when they weren't expecting it, we could add it to a life linker and get us extra health when they didn't expect it. Or if they thought they were going to win the exchange and kill us in the next turn, we were able to use double strike. That whether they blocked us or not, it was going to help us win. That kind of stuff. So there's a lot of ways to do double strike. This was a little bit different than you normally see. I think normally when you see a double strike themed deck, you're seeing the creatures themselves. This was really the first time that I personally know of that somebody's just tried to do double strike just with the instance. But you can do double strike decks with a bunch of different creatures. They're heavy in red and white, of course, but you've got some multicolor things. So like if you do, let's see, I think we've got color. Let me switch it here real quick just to go through and show you. Double strike. We've got Drit Steward in there if you want to splash a green. He has double strike. And then if you want to do, say, a white-black combination, you've got Firge's Retribution and Shadrick's Silverquill. So there's a little bit of color bleed over from red and white into green and black, but not that much. And there's nothing in blue that I know of. So that's kind of where we are in this day and age. And with that, I'll leave you with a reminder. Click like and subscribe, share the video with a friend, let the newer players know that it's Evergreen month and we're covering all the basics of all the Evergreen terms, the keywords, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks. Have a good one.